She stood near the lockers, waiting for him to come, walk by her, and bless her with his presence. Her eyes were stuck on the distant ends of the corridor. Wayan had a huge crush on Jungkook, who was her classmate for last 5 years. Her little crush started when they were in middle school. Back then, she thought that it was a mere crush and didn't ponder upon it. But after 2 years, she realized her feelings for him. How long are you going to stand here like a statue waiting for him? A voice came from the side, startling Wayan. She looked to her right, placing her hands on her chest. The voice came from Jiminy, her bestie. She just smiled at her, scratching her head, and turned back to where she was looking, just to find her crush walking down the hallway. It was a scene to behold, at least for her. Wayan let out a sigh of relief and happiness seeing him, while Jiminy sighed beside her in exhaustion, seeing her bestie crushing over a cold guy. Good morning, Jungkook, she chirped as she moved forward to his body. Morning, he simply said as usual and proceeded with his walks. Wayan turned back to Jiminy, showing her smile. This was her usual routine for the last 2 years. From the day she finally understood that she liked Jungkook, Wayan has been trying to be present wherever he was. She was trying so hard to befriend him and later confess to him. But to her bad luck, this guy was cold as ice and never gave that attention to Wayan which she craved for. Seriously, I'm getting frustrated from his behavior. It has been 2 years that you have been trying to befriend him, and for him to notice you, why don't you just move on, Wayan? Wayan sighed. She knew her best friend was right. She had tried so hard to get close to him, but his guards never went down in these years of her approaching him. But I love him. Love is precious and should be given to the people who deserve it. At this point, you are just throwing them into the sea. He gives no value to whatever you are doing. Then why waste time? Give your love to someone who will appreciate it. There are plenty of fishes in the sea. There are plenty, but I don't want any random fish in the sea. They both walked into the class. In the chemistry lab, Jungkook was standing on a lab seat, a few rows away from Wayan. The students were given the task to identify a salt by doing certain experiments. Since Wayan was decently good with the practicals, she was almost done with her work when her eyes fell on Jungkook, who looked confused. Jungkook was looking at his lab manual secretly without the knowledge of the teacher. Wayan thought of helping him and decided to move to his table to help him. Wayan, go back to your seat. Wayan stood back in her seat as she felt helpless. Soon, an idea popped in her mind. After 10 minutes. Students, the time will be up in 5 minutes. Those who want to leave can submit their results at the table and leave. Jungkook decided to leave without doing anything as he could not conduct the experiments properly. He walked towards the front row when Wayan stopped him on the way. Stop, Jungkook. Jungkook looked at her coldly. I know you couldn't get the results. Please take mine. I have identified the salt and I have written your name on the sheet. Then what about you? He raised his eyebrows, to which she smiled. I have 5 minutes to complete it, but only if you stop asking questions and we exchange the salts. She quickly changed the answer sheets and got back to the experiments while Jungkook walked out of the classroom. Wayan, time's up. Just one more minute, I'll be done. You should have done the experiment instead of looking around. The teacher stood there waiting for her to finally complete the project while everyone left for lunch. At lunch, what happened to you? Why do you look like an angry chipmunk? Chemistry teacher was scolding me for finishing the project late. Jimena lifted her head in surprise. How is that possible? You were really good at chemistry. How did you get late? Warren told her the whole story. At this point, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. Why? She held Jimene's hand, worried. You are putting all these efforts on him for the last 2 years in one way or the other, but he hasn't changed his behavior even a bit. I'm now sure that you are to blame for wasting your love and effort on him. Why look down? Don't you have any shame to think that students and even Jungkook's friends call you clingy fangirl? I supported you because you said that you love him so much, but now I think you should move on. But what if he likes me? What if coldness is his nature and he is hiding his true self? Look at him. She pointed to the distant end of the canteen towards Jungkook, who was sitting with his friends. He's laughing and joking with them. He's definitely not cold to them. It only means that he has his priorities, and you are not one on that list. Wayne felt dejected and tired to even think that Jungkook didn't like her. Now what should I do? Since you love him, just confess to him. Wayne jerked her head up to look at her friend. Why would I go and confess to him if it is clear that he might not like me? It is for you to confirm it. Instead of acting on assumption, just go and ask him. If he rejects you, you have a reason to move on. Letting out that emotion will help you. After the school hours, Wainwa stood at the school gates while Jiminy stood a little away from her. After a few minutes, she saw Jungkook walking towards her. She took in a deep breath, calming herself down. Soon, Jungkook walked past her without even glancing at her. Jungkook, he turned around to look at her. Can I have a word with you? I hope you're not busy. I'm not. Go on. He turned around to look at her while she ran closer to him. Jungkook, I wanted to say that she was stuttering under his piercing gaze. I love you. She let a sigh of relief after the confession. For how long? She was surprised at him asking. I realized I loved you 2 years back. Jungkook looked away briefly and looked back at her with a smirk. Now it makes sense. What makes sense? The help and attention and all. All those dramas were for you to get me as your boyfriend. What? I was right after all, but I have to appreciate your dedication, he mumbled. I have liked you since middle school. And you were right. I did it because I liked you. Doing something for someone out of love doesn't make the actions any less. I'm sorry, Ryan, but I don't like you. In fact, everything you did looked so mechanical to me. Well, I knew that there would be a rejection, but Jungkook just insulted everything that she did out of love. What else could go worse than this? Jungkook sighed and turned around to leave while Wyatt stood there frozen. Jiminy, who sensed the tension, ran to Wyatt. 1 month later. Did you guys hear that Wyatt and Derek are dating? Hearing my friend take Wyatt's name made me attentive towards what he was saying. Someone saw her on a date with him. But wasn't she after Jungkook till last month? He nudged me on the sides playfully. I let out a breathy chuckle. She has moved on so fast, it seems. We were not in a relationship, though. But still, for 2 years she was following you everywhere, and now she suddenly replaced you with someone else. Wow, shows your value, man. I got irritated and stood up from the table, startling my mates. I took my stuffs and walked out as I didn't want to listen to them anymore. But as I walked away from them, getting angry at what they said, I really wondered, was I replaceable in 1 month? All this time, Wayan was following me like a puppy. But now that I'm hearing about her dating someone else, it is somewhat irritating me. Am I realizing that I am in love? But I guess I'm too late. As my anger cooled down, I felt like talking to Wayan. Third person view. Wayan was picking up the essentials for the next class. While being busy, she felt a presence behind her. She was surprised to see Jungkook standing there scratching his neck as if wanting for her to turn around. She slightly smiled at him when their eyes met. Wayan, can I have a word with you? He was approaching her the same way she had approached him a month earlier. How the tables had turned. Sure, go on. Um, I heard that you're dating, Derek. I just wanted to congratulate you. Wayne hesitated for a minute and wondered why he had popped up so suddenly. I'm not dating him, but definitely giving a chance to him. Jungkook was somewhat relieved to know that she was not yet dating. Did he have a chance? Could he even ask for a chance after rejecting her? I, I'm sorry for rejecting you that day. Wine could make out where this conversation was about to go. It is okay, Jungkook. I'm glad that I could let go of that burden of keeping that emotion within. Plus, now I can be more open to people who like me. Have you moved on? I know I have no rights to ask, but I'm just curious. I can't say that I have moved on from you. Like I told you, I liked you since our middle school. But hey, I respect your decision. You don't like me, and that is totally valid. I was actually wrong, he confessed. What do you mean? She crashed her eyebrows to his statement. I just realized that I like you. When I came to know that you're dating someone, I felt like I was wrong in making such a rash decision. There was a silence between them. Say something, Ryan. What should I say? Could you give me another chance? I will prove myself, and I promise that you won't regret giving me a chance. I'm not sure, Jungkook. I was rejected and broken by you once. I don't think I can trust you with that broken heart. She was right, Jungkook realized. Why would she give a chance to the guy who rejected her and insulted her actions? We can definitely be friends. Jungkook's face lit up hearing that. He had a white smile spreading on his face now. But I cannot promise to give you another chance. Ryan saw Gemini walking towards them. I will see you later. She waved to Jungkook and walked away with Gemini. Jungkook felt a rising hope knowing that he had a chance. And even if he didn't get to be Ryan's boyfriend, he felt happy to be her friend.